What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Funk It Pod and to MMA Monday. It's been another crazy weekend of MMA events, week even of MMA events. So without further ado, and any cool intros, because there is none. Besides, well, welcome to the only MMA podcast on the planet that is not sponsored by Manscaped or Blue Chew. Yes, that's us. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Let's talk about what happened in the world of MMA over this past week. And of course, we have to start with exactly the PFL, where I kid, of course. But did you see the Pettis in the PFL? Fantastic. If not, check out what happened. Okay, other than that, let's start with what really mattered, of course. UFC 261. According to the Count, Michael Bisping on Twitter, and I quote, best UFC event ever? And can't really argue with him. It was amazing. Start to finish, every single fight delivered. Been at the edge of your seats. First time with an audience, and while I don't want to make it a COVID discussion here, of course, and I'm not a doctor, and I don't know how smart it is to have 20,000 people next to each other in the arena, but it sounded amazing. That's like, while it was awesome without fans, because you can hear the corner talk and so on, so the purists of the sport, or the nerds, however you want to call them, were of course excited. I liked it too when you hear like the directions from the opponent and from the coach and whatnot, but hearing the roar of the fans, like when those things happened, how they happened, the fans going crazy, that was just amazing. That was like, I want to be there. So UFC, well done. There's lots of hate sometimes going on, and we're making fun of the UFC and of Dana and so on, but holy smokes, that was amazing. What an event. Triller, take note, that's how you actually promote and hold a fight event, not a concert. It was amazing. Every single fight was amazing, by the way. More or less exciting. We're going to talk about the three main events, so to speak, of course, in detail. But, I mean, even if you go down into the prelims, there was so much fun. Ridiculous. Watch it all. Go on Fight Pass. See, I don't even tell you to stream it this time around. Go on Fight Pass and watch it. But yeah, so let's talk about the main event. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. And I'm not calling Usman or anyone an elephant, but let's talk about Usman versus Masvidal. And yeah, awesome. I mean, awesome. Usman is the man, right? Is he the best welterweight champ ever? The argument is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? I'm also not the biggest Usman fan, and I don't really know why, because if I break it down, I like what he's doing. I like what he says in interviews. I like how he brings, like how he seems to be like really focused and motivated to be the best. I like that. He makes sense in what he says. He seems to be a really nice guy, like outside of the cage. Like when you see the interactions, he's soft-spoken in interviews, but something doesn't click. I don't know what, but doesn't matter, because his performances are just world-class, 100%. Perfect. Like that's what he said before. He wants to make it flawless, and there was almost flawless. I mean, it wasn't flawless, but it was really good, of course. I mean, knocking Masvidal out. Who can say that they knocked Masvidal out? Usman can say that now, right? That he stopped Masvidal with punches. Somewhere in the distance, Ben Askren smiling. He actually posted something on his IG. But yeah, crazy. First round though, gotta give it to him. Masvidal looked nice, looked fine. That also might have given him a false sense of confidence there, right? Because, I mean, he had the hands really low, and he was like just playing with, he tried to play with Usman, and if you play with fire, you get burned, right? So, so that was stupid. But if you don't respect him, that's what happens. I mean, he caught him flush, straight down the pipe, right hand, and that's it. Like what Usman said in the end, right, what Trevor Whitman is about, like basics, just fundamentals. Trevor Whitman, man, genius, master trainer apparently. Come to Thailand, Trevor. I need to talk with you. Yeah, awesome, speechless. I thought Masvidal looked good in the first round. He scrambled well, got back up to his feet, all good. So I thought, hey, that's could be a fun fight. But then he just did not respect Usman's power, and well, then one shot is enough. So respect. While I say that, actually, I feel a bit sad that it ended so early because, I mean, Masvidal did look good in the first round. So it would have been nice to see, for him to take Usman more serious. Like, I mean, even if you say you didn't feel the power, he said it in the interview, right? I didn't feel the power in the last fight. You saw him knocking out Burns, for example, right? So, I mean, you know that he can, and you know that Trevor Whitman is his coach, and that he trains with Justin Gaethje, and that he has Francis Ngannou in the corner who tells him, knock him out. Why don't you take him? It's your last world title shot. Why don't you take him more serious? Sad, but okay. Where do we go from here? I don't know. Usman Covington is next, of course. I hope Usman wipes the floor with Covington so that we finally get Usman versus Wonderboy, because Wonderboy deserves it if he wins against Burns. So, Stephen, please win this one again. I want to see Stephen Thompson with the belt eventually, before he calls it quits. For Masvidal, it's hard to say. Maybe Jake Paul is next now. He looked like Ben Askren on the floor, and after Ben Askren looked like this, his next fight was 2 years later, Jake Paul. So maybe Masvidal follows Ben Askren, getting knocked out cold, lying on the canvas, and then fighting Jake Paul next. Of course, that will never happen because he would kill Jake Paul. But yeah, I know what's next for Masvidal. Regroup, see if there's another BMF fight out there that he can make or something like this, another cash in, and then slowly fade out, right into the sunset or something like this, I believe. But yeah, congrats to the champ. That was well done. What was also well done, smooth transitions here, and I don't even have a lawnmower here. Smooth transitions. Yeah, Rose versus Weili Zhang. Rose Namajunas, Weili Zhang. And that's it. I mean, Rose is a machine. Really creepy to see Pat Barry and Rose, the interactions there, but whatever works for them. Think about Pat Barry, whatever you want. Not going down that road. But, I mean, she's on it, right? As soon as the door closes to the octagon, as soon as that bell rings and the fight starts, she's on it. Yeah, shall we forget about the better dead than red comments actually? Or shouldn't we forget about it? I mean, social media fans, like, boo, Rose, cancel. Well, actually, who knows? Oh my God, Rose is the best. Yeah, awesome. To quote Derek Lewis, and that's a direct quote from Twitter, USA in the show at UFC. Derek Lewis is the best. Yeah, but he's right. So yeah, the fight, I mean, Weili clearly was preparing for like a low kick there, like tucking her hip back, like being ready to move out of the way for the low kick. And then Rose just with the perfectly timed and placed positioned head kick, and that's all she wrote. Weili then in the interview, of course, she said early stoppage. She wasn't unconscious, but I mean the referee's job is to actually save you from being hammered until you get unconscious. Yeah, she was clearly still wobbly on the feet, so that was a good stoppage, a fair stoppage, I believe. Congratulations, Rose Namajunas. You did it. First woman ever to reclaim a championship in the same weight class. So congratulations, Rose. Let's see what's next. Now Jessica Andrade coming back. Speaking of Jessica Andrade versus Shevchenko, Valentina Bullet Shevchenko. To keep it with the Derek Lewis quotes, I have this one here too. He tweeted right away, and he's like, "I can't believe these women are throwing kicks," and we all know why he said that, right? That was pretty funny. The fight was amazing. Everyone was like doubting Valentina, like, yeah, Jessica Andrade, the one who can make it a tough fight for Valentina. We saw her against Jennifer Maia, and on the ground you can beat Valentina on the ground, and Jessica Andrade got a wrestling advantage. She's such a good wrestler, and she's so strong, and she can take Valentina down and probably keep her there, and so on. And Valentina is like, yeah, let me show you. And it's amazing to see, like, because she was lighting Andrade up on the feet. Like her jab way faster than what Andrade had to offer, like some kicks, but then she took her down 7 times in the first round or whatever, or 7 times in 1.5 rounds. I forgot, like new takedown record for the women's division by Valentina Shevchenko. She's like, yeah, you think she's a better wrestler than me? Well, look at this. F you people. She seemed to be really pissed that someone thought there's someone else who could hang with her. And she's like, yeah, I'm the best striker, I know, but I'm going to out-wrestle the wrestler now. That was pretty dope. That was usually I'm not a fan of lots of wrestling. Of course, I mean, because I'm in Thailand here, we're doing lots of Thai boxing, so you want to see stand-up fights and so on. But that was just awesome. Like one takedown after the other, after the other, after the other. And then when Andrade even had like, once she had like a decent position against the fence, right? And you think, okay, maybe that looks like what she did against Rose. Maybe she can replicate that. Valentina was like, no, you can't lift me up. Turned her around, tripped her again. It was just amazing. And then with the crucifix, amazing performance by Valentina. I don't know what's next. But if she's on point like this, nobody's going to beat her. No one's going to beat her. I sound like Joe Rogan. Welcome to the Machida era. Welcome to the Shevchenko era. And then she's going to lose her next fight. Amazing fight, though. Like Valentina Shevchenko. And I said it on Twitter. I always feel a little bit like there's a little bit of Thailand fighting with Valentina Shevchenko. And when you watch the embeddeds and so on, you always see like her wearing the Tiger Muay Thai gear. Like she has like this top that has like the tiger emblem with like her colors on there, which is from Tiger Muay Thai, and she always has like this hoodie when she goes running, which is Tiger Muay Thai, which is based in Phuket, Thailand. So, and she always wise when she starts the fight, and when she bows down, bows out, she's always doing this one. What's the typical Muay Thai thing, Thai kickboxing thing. So it always feels a little bit of like Thai style, seeing Thai style in the octagon, which is very nice. I appreciate this. Also, her trainer talked about training in Thailand, like when they showed her doing the weight cut, and she has like this sweatsuit. I was like, yeah, it's normal in Thailand for Muay Thai fighters. That's why we do it like this. So it's kind of cool to see from a Thai perspective, like, hey, she's got like this Thai style ingrained a little bit, which is really nice to see. So Valentina, and die Mark, Valentina. Whew. That was awesome. Okay, what else do we have? Well, shall we talk about it? Okay, let's talk about it very quickly. Chris Weidman, Uriah Hall. Karma is right? I mean, you all know it. We've all seen it. Back then, Anderson Silva tries to low kick Weidman. Weidman checks it. Silva breaks his leg in a very disgusting way that you don't want to see. And now the same thing happens to Chris Weidman when he kicks Uriah Hall. Oh my God. You can see how hard Weidman wanted to kick. But also like, oh God, that hurt just watching. The only thing that really made me be able to talk about it is looking at Derek Lewis' Twitter. He said, I will never throw leg kicks again. That's why he then said in the Shevchenko match, like, they're throwing leg kicks. Like, so he said, I will never throw leg kicks again at UFC. And then he also added at UFC, he says, it's Anderson Silva's fault at UFC. Referring to his last fight. With those extra shots. He said it's the referee's fault. It's all Herb Dean's fault. But yeah, that was of course terrible. I mean, Uriah Hall tried to handle it as well as possible, wishing Chris Weidman all the best. I think he has surgery on Sunday. So when this podcast comes out, there should be some news about Chris Weidman out there, hopefully recovering. Crazy. And the thing is, the fight before, Anthony Smith versus Jimmy Crute, you thought that was crazy because there was this another crazy leg kick that stopped Jimmy Crute. He got really upset about it, right? Which was like this was it a nerve kick or whatever? On Twitter, some fighters like, yes, that big toe thing again, like Sean O'Malley explained it. But yeah, so that ended the fight. Like, oh, that's crazy. But I mean, that of course got outshined, if you want to, by what happened between Weidman and Uriah Hall. And so that was just crazy. And it's a shame that a fight between two older, no offense, same age here, olderish guys has to end like this, which is really sad. Yeah. Well, but overall, again, UFC 261, what an amazing performance, what an amazing card. I can't find enough words to say how awesome it was. So much fun. crazy. Good job, UFC. Really good job. Yeah, what they also, by the way, besides the event, they also announced during event weekend, they announced that Stylebender versus Vettori is official because they want to have it in June or whatever, I believe, and Whittaker can't turn around that quick, so that's why it's Adesanya versus Vettori. More on this than when it comes closer. We're going to break it down, of course. See, I like Marvin Vettori when he's on the podcast with Bisping or something. Then he's really funny. But other than that, I'm not sure. But okay, let's see what happens there. I think the co-main event, I'm just checking. The co-main event is going to be Brandon Moreno versus Figgy Smalls, Figueiredo. That should be fun again, hopefully. But yeah, let's see how this goes. Maybe we're gonna get excited about Marvin. If it's angry Marvin, it's gonna be good. I believe. But yeah, overall, again, awesome card. UFC 261, fights awesome, fans awesome, fans chanting all the time. It felt a little bit European, but like a soccer chant in between a few times, but also lots of Ric Flair style, of course, like woo, and so on, which was pretty cool. So yeah, it's going to be weird if they're going to go back without the fans again. I think they're going to go back to the Apex then for the next event again, which then will be without fans. So, yeah, let's see about this. But that was awesome. So now I've tried to find a smooth transition to review from the review of this awesome event to almost as awesome event, a little bit less awesome, still interesting event. One on TNT 3. No disqualifications this time, I think, unless I missed them. I didn't watch everything, to be honest. What I did watch, though, was, of course, the Gunslinger, my personal main event. The Gunslinger back in action. John Wayne Parr, Muay Thai legend, back in action, 44 years old. Hip replacement, knee replacement, hip replacement, or something like this, versus the natural Nikki Holtzkin, who was super dominant for a long time. Then got beat by the current champion, of course, but still is like a huge force to be reckoned with. And the fun thing is that the trainer, a long-time trainer of Nikki Holtzkin, Raymond Deckers, who's like probably the most famous, successful white person ever to fight in Thailand and in Muay Thai, was Nikki Holtzkin's longtime trainer. And John Wayne's part trainer, Thai trainer, used to fight Raymond Deckers twice, I believe twice, which was very interesting. And now their students met in the ring, so that's pretty cool. The fight itself, well, I don't like to make excuses for fighters, right? Because they're fighters and they sign up for this. But what John Wayne Parr had to go through to actually go there, he didn't have a corner, he didn't bring anyone because they would have to quarantine forever when they go to Singapore and then when they come back to Australia. Then, like, they had some hydration problems with making weight for one, and then first they told him he's got COVID, so he can't fight, and it's like, oh no, it's wrong. You're the wrong John Wayne Parr. We thought about someone else or whatever. We mixed the names up. You don't have COVID, you can fight. So it wasn't easy for him. He still went in there, tried his best, of course, but yeah, he got knocked out cold. Not cold, actually. Got just knocked out by a left high kick by Nikki Holtzkin. And the fun thing, I mean, he connected well, of course, because maybe with a big glove, maybe the block would have been there, but with a small glove, he just came through. And you can see while John Wayne Parr goes down, you can see his face, and it's not a face of pain, it's a face of shit. Because you can see him looking at the referee, and the referee just waves it off. Olivier Coste, right, waves it off, and you can see John Wayne Parr going like. So it's not the pain that led to suffering. It was more like realizing, shit, I just got knocked out. Damn it. That was not funny, but it just showed you what kind of fighter John Wayne Parr is. So respect to John Wayne Parr, respect to Nikki Holtzkin, of course. I hope his shin is okay, because I mean, hitting this hard Australian head can't be easy. Respect to John Wayne Parr. He's still got 4 fights left on his card, he said, so I hope he can bounce back soon, because I really want to see him pick up his 100th win of his career. Other fights that we've seen on TNT 3 was John Lineker, Hands of Stone versus Troy Wortham. Hands of Stone, phew, Hands of Stone, that's it. KO, straight punch. That's what you know John Lineker for, that's what he does. He looks to be like Brandon Schaub, jacked city. I think that's how Brandon Schaub says it, right? Jacked city. So yeah, John Lineker, straight out of jacked city. Also out of jacked city, like almost every fighter won championship. I wonder why. Reese McLaren versus Yuya Wakamatsu. Reese Lightning, I believe, is his nickname. McLaren. McLaren, being fast. Reese McLaren started quick, so you thought, okay, man, he's got it. He put it on Yuya Wakamatsu. Wakamatsu, however, really fought back, found his way into the fight, and then won by unanimous decision. So congratulations, Yuya Wakamatsu. That was a well-earned victory. Okay, that's enough of the review part. Preview in a second. But first, one thing that also happened, and I should have said it before the One Championship review at the UFC 261, Daniel Cormier confronted Jake Paul. Jake Paul in the audience, Cormier went over and it's like, what did he say? I didn't write it down, but he's like, "Hey, don't mess with me. I'm gonna kill you," or something around something like this was what he said. While I'm still trying to read the article while I'm talking to you, so something along the lines like, "Don't mess with me. Don't mess with the wrong guy. I'm gonna f you up, man," or something like this. And the audience started to chant "F Jake Paul." That's why I was smiling right now. That was kind of fun. So UFC fans, you're the best. So that was cool. Okay, that's the review part. Let's talk about what's going to happen next. What's going to happen next one UFC is going to happen next on May 2nd, I believe, which will see Dominic Reyes versus Jiří, I should be able to say that, I'm European. Jiří Procházka versus Dominic Reyes. And let me look at my notes. It's the number 3 ranked fighter, Dominic Reyes, on light heavyweight versus number 5 ranked fighter, Jiří Procházka. Reyes has to show something here after his last outing, right? If he can't show something here, then and Procházka finishes him, or just wins, and then Procházka, of course, takes his place, and it's going to be a title shot rather soon, of course, for Procházka. I think either man who wins here will get a title shot rather soon, no matter how then the title match between Glover and Jan ends. I'm rather curious to see the co-main event between Cub Swanson, yes, and Giga Chikadze. To be honest, I haven't seen much of Giga Chikadze as of late. Neither did I of Cub Swanson, because he was out with an injury forever. Don't do grappling tournaments, Cub Swanson. Don't do it. So that was kind of interesting, or it will be kind of interesting to see Cub Swanson back in action. Ever since he had this banger with the Korean Superboy, I forgot. It's just always like, yeah, Cub Swanson time, let's go. We also have Ion Cutelaba back in action, but let's be honest, Ion Cutelaba, you gotta show up first before we can get excited about you. Of course, my picks would be Jiří Procházka there. I think he's on the up. Dominic Reyes, I'm not sure if he can get his ego in check again. And I hope, of course, for Cub Swanson, because Cub Swanson, what's the so-called hand sign for life? I know if it's a thing. Okay, so that's the UFC Fight Night predictions. When it comes to One Championship, there's one more to go. One Championship on TNT number 4. How do I do this? 4 did not feel awkward at all. 4. For those listening, I try to show 4 with my fingers like in the Roman numerals. Not a good idea. So one on TNT 4. And there are a few interesting fights that you should be looking forward to because I tell you. So first in the prelims, we have Eduardo Folayang, who's the former champion in lightweight, versus Shinya Aoki, who's also former champion at lightweight, and who you know from being, Shinya freaking Aoki, right? So, yes, nice. While I say this, wasn't Sage Northcutt scheduled to fight Shinya Aoki? Hey, One Championship, you didn't announce that Sage is out. What happened? I didn't see any announcement. What happened? One Championship, you could have said something, couldn't you? So yeah, it's Eduardo Folayang versus Shinya Aoki. One championship and those last-minute quick replacements. It's also a weird thing that also happened in the main event. How does it work? Like it's like a week's notice or something like this happens all the time. Crazy. So Shinya Aoki, former champion, versus Edward Folayang, former champion lightweight. That should be fun. Look at what you should be looking out for. Shinya Aoki, obviously, closing the distance, coming in, eating shots, and taking Folayang down. Folayang. Well, of course, powerful strikes, but he's a wushu guy as well from the Philippines, so lots of spinning back kicks. That's what you should be looking forward to. Then we also have in strawweight Muay Thai, we have Yekaterina, and I have to read it, I'm sorry, Bandaryeva, not too familiar with her, but her opponent, Jackie Buntan, had a huge showing in her debut for one championship last time around. Really cool, made me a fan right away. Very much looking forward to that fight. That should be fun. I would, after her last showing, of course, pick Jackie Buntan. Between Shinya Aoki, by the way, and Eduardo Folayang, I would go for Shinya Aoki one more time. Edward Folayang has the power, of course, he can end at any time, but he has been on a losing skid as of late a little bit. So Shinya maybe has a second or third re-emergence. So yeah, I'm picking Shinya Aoki here. I also would have picked him against Sage Northcutt, by the way. Speaking of Northcutt, Sage's sister, or maybe they're the same person, Sage's sister, Colby Northcutt, fights again against Courtney Martin, who I don't really know, to be honest. Last time around, Colby Northcutt, when she fought against a Thai fighter, I believe, she just had such a huge reach and height advantage. I'm curious to see how it goes here, if it's the case again, or if it's not the case, how she handles fighters being a similar size than hers. That's the lead card. That's how it's college and one championship. On the main card, the two fights that you should be looking forward to is, of course, the main event. Aung Lan Sang, the light heavyweight champion, versus Renier de Ridder. And Aung Lan Sang, no, he's the heavyweight champion, right? And he lost the light heavyweight belt to Renier de Ridder. So that's a rematch. Now, actually, Aung Lan Sang was meant to fight someone else, and I forgot who. But this one, they just switched it out I don't know, a few days ago. How can you do this on less than a week notice? Hey, Renier, you're in, you fight Aung Lan now. A few days, that's crazy. Yeah, should be a good fight. The last fight was rather boring because Renier de Ridder just goes through, try to take Aung Lan Sang down and choke them out, and I think that's just going to be the same thing it's going to do again. I like Aung Lan Sang, but I don't see, last time was way too easy, and now with no time to prepare for the Ridder, I don't think that he improved his defense, his grappling as much as he would need to keep Ridder off him. So I see Ridder doing the same thing again, just walking through the shots, landing a shots of his own, pushing forward, taking the back and choking him out. Probably round one, if not round two. The co-main event then is Eddie Alvarez, the Underground King, is back in action versus Ok Bae-yoon. Ok just won, now on TNT 3, and because he won, he gets the place to fight Eddie Alvarez 1 week later. That's a bit like Pride style or something, like you win tournament next week, let's go. Kind of cool, kind of weird. Also, Eddie Alvarez didn't have time to prepare for anyone in particular, but Eddie just said, I want to fight again. And let's be honest, if Eddie wins this one, he's next in line for the championship. He has got so much hype behind him. The American fan base loves him. They just want to see him do well. If he wins this fight, I promise his next fight is against Christian Lee for the title. That should be fun. As long as nothing crazy happens and he doesn't get disqualified again, I think. He looked so good in the beginning 2 weeks ago. If nothing crazy happens again, I think Eddie Alvarez takes this one. All right, that's it for this week's MMA Monday. Previews, reviews, and the like. Let me know what you think. What do you think about one championship on TNT 4 without Sage, but with Aung La, with Eddie Alvarez? Should be fun, right? Also, what do you think about, Dominic Reyes? What's he going to do? Will he pull it off? Will he reinvigorate himself? Will Jiří Procházka take his place? What about Cub Swanson? And what did you think about UFC 261? best card in forever? Let me know in the comments on YouTube, social media, on any podcast platform that you listen to. Buy me a coffee as well if you want to. Or even just shoot an email, funkitpod@gmail.com. Whatever works for you, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Until then, stay safe, take care, and I'll see you next time.